parents came in 1951. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a building in sight here, and nobody wanted this land. So they had just enough money to pay the $7.50 an acre back taxes, and then they were broke. But they were hard workers, and they kept after it and kept after it. And, you know, when they finally got a little bit ahead, they would pick up another little piece of land and so on. And by the time, well, they didn't really feel a need to enjoy it. They just left the property for the sons.
Yeah.
And boy, no one's ever going to offend me by telling me I'm privileged.
Yeah.
I don't have to pay rent. I can do whatever I want. I'm doing what I want, and so it's a good place to be. My mother ran it as a rock shop for 61 years.
Whoa, okay.
And when she was having people get their own change out of the cash register, she called me up and said that she couldn't do it anymore. And I had just been laid off from a 23-year job at Minnesota Public Radio. Mm-hmm. And so I was ready to take it over.
So did you grow up here or in Minnesota?
Across the street, in a building that's no longer there.
Okay, cool. And then you took it over for your mom and turned it into what it is now? Yes.
There were some changes. Her stuff was a bit antiquated, wasn't really up with the times. Mm-hmm. And I had had 23 years of sitting at my desk job to think about what I was going to do.
So where did your love for music come from? Or like when you were little, do you remember a certain vinyl that you played that you loved? Or have you always loved music?
Well, my first record was In Agata Davida.
Okay.
And my mother hated that record. She was more of a polka and classical music person. And I had a little garage band with the Griggers brothers, who are neighbors. And boy, I don't know. I just, back when everybody listened to records, it just seemed like even like junior high kids and high school kids would be sitting listening to a record and going, I think he's playing a Stratocaster. Do you think that sounds like a Stratocaster? Or that's a Fender Rhodes organ. I'm sure of it, and they look on the cover and sure enough, Fender Rhodes, People don't have that kind of connection to the music these days that they used to. I mean, the CDs and the whole digital thing kind of just hammered it down and turned it into a commodity, whereas it used to be a real experience that people were passionate about. And now young people these days in high school and early years of being out of high school are really taking to records, because they can, you put headphones on them and they can tell the difference.
Yeah,
I haven't had to do that myself because they already come in the door and go, ooh, George Jones, ooh, Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
The same person. George Jones, Black, I guess Duke Ellington said there's only two kinds of music. Mm-hmm. Good music and bad music.
Do you believe that?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of in-between stuff that's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's some really good music, and there's some really bad music. This is Miller's Greatest Hits.
What is that all about?
Well, as I understand it, she was a wealthy person in Hollywood and had a lot of connections in the community, and she thought that she would sing. She thought that she was a pretty good singer, and through her connections, she got a deal with Capitol Records, and it's really, really horrible. It's like she'd never heard the songs before, and someone they played the song for her and handed her a lyric sheet, and they did it in maybe one take. With Hard Day's Night in particular, I mean, she stumbles over the lyrics, and she has this really frustrating vibrato in her voice, but she got on all of the late night talk shows back in the day, and the crowd would cheer and so on, you know. Boy, what I have really focused on most is finding someone who will keep it going after me.
Really?
And I think we've maybe got a person like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I also just like to have it as kind of a platform for me to soft pedal civility and kindness and so forth. A lot of people who come here maybe come from a place where people are kind of hostile to one another, or there's all kinds of bad attitudes about people who don't look like them, or people who have different lifestyles from them. And I'm pretty good at knowing not to push it. I partied with bikers back when I was a teenager and in my early 20s, and I learned what you can kind of get away with and what you can't. Yes. Yeah. So, and plus having an all are welcome here sign brings in all the cool kids.
Yeah, of
course. I like all kinds of different people. John Stuart Mill, in his book On Liberty, made the case for liberty, that you need to have liberty so that people can try out all kinds of different ways of being, all kinds of different ways of doing things, because we don't have it all figured out. And every now and then somebody's going to come up with something that's different that nobody else had thought about maybe, and if they had the liberty to do that, instead of being locked into a certain way of seeing the world or something, then the whole society benefits from the new perspective and maybe the new way of doing it.
Yeah.
So that was his case for why we have liberty, is because it will help your culture grow.
Tell me about your famous rule here.
Oh, my rules.
Your rules.
Well, there are these silly amateur rules that I've dealt with the traveling public all my life practically. And every place they go, they're told, don't touch this, smile, you're on camera. It just annoys me to no end, because you're insulting people. I don't know of any other line of business where you start off by insulting people on the other end of the table. And every time I say, I don't care if anything breaks. You can bring in your dog, your pizza, ice cream, and open beer. No one's on camera. Every traveler gets it. They're all, it's just old. They don't want it. And it's just respectful. So they all laugh, and we all laugh, and then they feel more relaxed.
Yeah.
So that's good.
That's something I remember the first time I came in the shop. You said, my only rule, there's no rules.
Yeah,
I was like, I think I like it here. Okay.
Pretty much. I would have a rule of be nice, but that's the default setting of human beings. So it's the rule just isn't necessary.
Yeah.
I mean, even people who probably have some pretty toxic political views, they can be nice. They maybe are nice in their own way and in their own community and so forth. That's just for some reason they look at their phone way too much, and it's filling their heads full of, I don't have a good word for it.
I can fill in the blank.
Propaganda, cynicism.
So would you say with this shop you're kind of finding a way to make the world even a better place just by your interactions with all these different people from different areas of the world, hoping that carries?
I would like to think so. I mean, also I just kind of like to walk the walk of what I'm talking about. I want to have warm clothes for them to wear, where they don't have to pay a ton of money just to stay warm. Or, since I don't have horrendous expenses and I've had a career, I'm sort of retired, but not really. I'm not rich, but I've got enough to help other people out. If someone's walking by with their whole world on their back, maybe I can slow them down long enough to get them hooked up with a down jacket.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have one or something.
Yeah.
I like being able to help people out. My dad was a utilitarian. Mm-hmm. He wanted everything to be focused on something productive. Mm-hmm. And you were to make yourself useful. And that's what I do here. I make myself useful. I dispense what I think is good advice on where to eat, where not to eat. Yeah. Best places to hike, alternate routes to get to where they're going. I buy all the stuff one thing at a time, so I'm confident enough that it's all going to sell itself. And I can just yammer on about things. And the money takes care of itself. If people feel respected and appreciated, then I sell stuff. I don't know that I could make more money here by being just cynically testing what the market will bear. Yeah. Seeing, well, what if I priced shirts at $30? Mm-hmm. If I sold 10 shirts a day at $30, would I be making more than if I sold 40 shirts at 12 and 15 and whatever? I'd rather sell them at 12 and 15. Yeah. I don't want to think about how I can squeeze an extra dollar out of something.
It's very admirable, especially in today's society when it's like that is running rampant and who can be the best business person.
Yeah.
It's a lot of greed.
Yes. Globally, nationally, and locally. Mm-hmm. But I won't talk about the locally part.
Okay.
Rule of thumb, the cheesier the album cover, the better the music. At KVNF, for 3 years, I had a radio show. Right. So I kind of dug through all of their records and listened to them and really expanded my knowledge of what different kinds of music there were. And
so most records that you're getting, beforehand?
As a rule, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or I happen to know that it's a record that people like. Mm. I don't know a lot about Motorhead, but if I see a Motorhead record, I know to buy it. But I do know about Oingo Boingo. I see an Oingo Boingo record, I buy it. Yeah. It's the same with Dylan and Waylon Jennings and Johnny Cash and other kind of obscure people that I wouldn't call them obscure, but just not as well known out there. I like kind of tipping people off, like, you bought a bunch of records here. I'm kind of looking through here. I think, you ever heard the Guess Who's record, Share the Land? And they say no, and I go back and I grab multiple copies a year. Yeah. And so I can kind of throw it in with the rest of the records. Listen to this.
What are some of the records that you have in your own collection that you cherish?
I don't have any collections anymore.
You don't?
Nope.
You don't have any records of your own?
When I started to run this business, I needed to invest in it, and I put in just about all of my retirement money.
Okay.
And so the business failing was not an option. Mm-hmm. I had a record collection, I had a bottle collection. I don't know what other collections I might have had, but they all went in the shop. Mm-hmm. I had one bottle that I found digging down by the river here. It was a big square quart-sized cobalt blue bottle with an owl on the front, and it had one claw. It had a pestle, and it was grinding stuff in a mortar, and it was really what we call sharp. in the bottle collecting business. I loved that bottle, but I was so afraid I was going to break it that I put it on eBay for like $600. And when somebody bought it, I packaged it up in such a way that it could be dropped from a low-flying jet and send it on its way. Because, I do break things.
Yeah.
That's why I tell people I don't care if anything breaks. I break a lot more things than they do, and I'm allowed in the shop. There was like a kid, and it seemed like he came from kind of a dysfunctional family, and he and after I told him this, he kind of looked around and looked behind him to see if I was watching, and he grabbed a couple of hats and threw them on the floor to see what my reaction would be, and I just kind of ignored it. There are different ways of being, and I respected that kid as much as I respect anybody that comes in the shop. And, maybe they don't deserve respect. Well, I don't care. It's not about the people that come in the shop. It's about the kind of person that I want to be.
Oh.
And plus, I'm a little bit of an idealist. I think that human beings are basically good. It's just that people get into power and they want more power. And the way to do that is to turn people against one another. And just... there's a lot of manipulation out there, but the vast majority of people are nice. Even the people I vehemently disagree with, they're civil, and that's the way they live their day. And things come out of their mouth that are abhorrent, but I don't think they ever really believe that stuff. They just say it to fit better into their tribe.
Yeah, or they don't really fully understand what they're saying. And they're saying these things, and if they were to talk to someone with a different opinion, they might not feel the same way.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Janie. I'm Janie. I'm Ron's wife. Or Ron's my husband.
Yeah. How much time do you spend in the shop?
Not a lot.
Not a lot?
Because I can go uptown and have lunch and have some friends up there, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah. What kind of music do you like to listen to?
Sting and Robert Plant and him when he plays for me, or when he plays. And
How often do you play?
I don't play a lot,
really,
these days.
But he's so smart about music stuff. And when people come in and ask questions, he knows what to answer.
Yeah, you have quite the range of different genres and a little something for everyone.
Or if I don't know, I have the good sense to say I don't know.
That's smart. A lot of people lose that aspect.
Yeah. I'm not good at faking it, and I don't see the point. Again, it's are you being useful, or are you being interfering with people finding out the real information?
Right.
I don't see any point in making things up.
Yeah. Okay, tell me, you're surrounded here by the mountains. How do you think that kind of plays a role in like the shop's atmosphere even, and just what is your connection to this environment?
Well, it was originally a rock shop because my parents didn't have enough money to buy inventory. They just went out and gathered up some rocks and sold them by the roadside.
Was it this original structure?
Well, there was the original structure was across the road.
Okay.
They built it in 1951, and my dad built this in 1969.
Okay.
It's a Navajo Hogan design, except for a little thing on the top that kind of makes it look like a spaceship. I think my dad was trying to get in on the roadside attraction thing. And I think probably the building was interesting enough that it stopped a number of people, but I figured out that if you put 500 flannel shirts out front, that stops cars.
I like his sign about the bathroom being available for everyone.
Yeah, you have even a sign in the bathroom saying like, if you need a toilet paper roll, take it. It's just like your spirit and your generosity and your kindness. It shows everywhere in this place.
Well, that just comes back to, I wish economists would pay attention to acts of kindness, because almost always you pull over to help somebody on the side of the road. I mean, they're broken down. You're just driving along. You're taking a few moments to get out of your day. It's the return on investment in that kind of thing is astounding. The corporate world would kill for that kind of return on investment.
Yeah.
And it's just things like a roll of toilet paper. Somebody's camping, or they're going down the road and they're broke or something.
Yeah.
Not having toilet paper can be a real problem.
Yeah.
And what's a roll of toilet paper to me?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just nothing. And there's all kinds of little things like that. I want
Sure.
them to go home and say, those people in Colorado, they're not weird. They're pretty normal. Actually, they're quite nice. There's one guy I met. No. And
Yeah.
so, that's what I want. The front of the building, my dad did the rock work in it.
Very cool.
My mom.
That's your mom?
Yep. And
Wow.
here's her with her 3 grown sons at my niece's wedding, and it was the last time I cut my hair.
Oh my god. Who are these people? Do you know?
That's my mother and father.
Look at that.